Welcome to the third episode of Three Dudes Brews. Three Dudes Brews is brought to you by the good people here at Vigilant Brewing and, of course, Van Down by the Rib Podcast at vandownbytheribpodcast.com. I am your host, Buddy Thayer. I am welcoming you to join us here on our journey of craft deliciousness, our appreciation for the craft beers, and our celebration of the good people who bring them to us. I am happy to be joined on this amazing journey by two dudes. The first dude, he's a man that when I think about drinking delicious craft beer, I think of him. When I'm drinking delicious craft beer, I think of him. When I'm waking up from a dream where I'm swimming in an ocean of craft beer, I scream his name. He is a master of this craft. A master of the craft of brewing. He has one of the best strawberry mead recipes this side of Mount Olympus. He's the Greekiest man I know. I double dare you to say his name 3 times fast. Welcome to the show, Kostas Stangaruli.
Thank you very much.
My second dude, he's the doctor. He's the master samurai of both the craft and the culinary. His palate and perspective of taste is as capacious as an Indian soccer stadium. He is the Pele of porters. He is the Beckham of barrel-aged stouts. He's the Estubio of sour ales. Airman of ales. What else is he? Oh yeah. The yeoman of the yeast. The pirate king of the pizza, and he puts the Ed in bread, not just Ed. Welcome to the show, Ed Patnod.
How you doing, everybody? Thanks. We are brought to you today, like we said, here at Vigilant Brewing, down here in Bristol, Rhode Island, and we brought John on, one of the brewers here. We're going to talk some beer this morning. We're going to try to guess the sampling in front of us again. They're wonderful beers, and once again, find out who today will be the top cock. So, without further ado, let's get started. And John, we'll start just talking and hashing out. We're not going to take up too much of your time. We know you guys are extremely busy here today.
Thankfully we are. Yeah. So I want to get back to your dreams over here. That's although concerning, it's good to bring that out. So we can probably talk about that later.
In therapy.
Yeah, in therapy, probably. Yeah. And according to the guys over here on Saturdays, I'm the head brewer. So just as an FYI.
Nice.
There we go.
Okay. Outside of that, welcome. We appreciate you guys coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Exciting. So, what's next?
Well, we're gonna sample our beers here. We're gonna start from left and go to the right, and we are going to try to distinguish which beer is which.
Okay.
We'll taste them. We're gonna sample them, and we are going to try to select from the list of 4 exactly which one it is, and you can let us know if we've hit the mark or we've missed it.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure what they gave you.
This is what they gave me. They didn't get in any particular order.
We're gonna dive right on in. I'm not waiting.
All right.
So our first one, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers.
Shalom.
Fred Ed.
Yamas.
Yep. There you go. So, John, while we're doing this, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys got going on today? What are you doing?
So today we are brewing Dingy. Dingy is our flagship IPA, which was born due to a mistake. It's actually a mistake there.
Really?
Yeah. So
what was the mistake?
So that should have been Winwood on opening day of Vigilant Brewing about 2 years ago. We identified days prior that we only had 3/4 of a keg of what we thought was going to be our flagship beer, and that was Winwood. So with stress on our backs, we decided on opening day to throw a brew day. And of course, what could go wrong? And what went wrong was that we had a massive stocking because our grain was too fine that day. We didn't identify it. We just wanted to brew. So that particular brew day was a 12, 13-hour brew day.
Oh, wow.
We didn't hit any of our numbers. The beer, the goal of the beer was to be about 1081. We barely got 1069. And so we, when we were done, we were like, all right, this is not, doesn't meet our expectation. You know, we have two choices, new beer or toss it. So weeks later, it went through the fermentation. We prior to dry hopping, our fearless leader, Kevin Emerald, kept coming up to me with a name. And so prior to all of our names, I've always wanted to be very classy names, nothing dirty, or just be more PG, right? Just make us make
more
ourselves
family friendly.
Right, family friendly, but also be more sophisticated.
Yeah.
So one particular day, he kept pushing, hey, can we call this Quick Finger Dingy? I'm like, no, we're not going to do it. I'm not going to do that name, And so he kept pushing. I was like, nope. And so one day he happened to catch me while I had a couple of beers and feeling pretty good. I was very happy of that particular beer. And he's like, can we call it Quick Finger Dingy? I'm like, call it Quick Finger Dingy. And little did we know that was going to be perhaps our biggest selling or highest brewed beer. And here we are today, where we are today. This is batch. It's not huge, but it's batch 27.
Wow. So definitely a happy accident too.
Yeah.
And how big is a batch?
So today's batch is 7 barrels. On average, we're actually brewing that weekly right now.
How many cans can you get out of a barrel?
I want to say, and don't quote me on this, I don't package, but I'm probably going to say probably 60 cans, 60 ounce cans, and I'm probably incorrect, and my guys will
Sounds close for a
let
keg.
me know. Yeah.
But it's
Full
quite a
size
bit.
keg. Yeah. That's about that.
So that's
Maybe a little more.
Yeah, so it's that's our flagship beer. That's my Achilles heel every now and again. That beer's gonna kill me. Because of course today we had a challenge with a slow mash, slow transfer. But because we're a little more seasoned, we were able to transfer in a meaningful time or in a quicker time, and get to a boil. So it was a good day today. It's going to be an amazing beer. I'm falling in love with the beer slowly.
Nice.
It's taken me 2 years.
So
I'm still not sure yet.
let's move on to the second one, guys.
Right, gentlemen.
And let's talk about.
Oh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Vamos.
Gotta do it. So, I see you're wearing the lovely Spec Ops shirt.
Yes.
So, how did you guys come up with Spec Ops?
Spec Ops was, the story behind that was the Tammy McKenna Fund. And, the crew here, they all grew up together. And sadly, these two, Andrew and his brother I believe his brother lost their lives in battle. And so his mother wanted to commemorate her son. And they came to us to do a collab beer, and they hooked us up with Grayson, which was amazing. That was so for our first collab, we were barely a year old, and it was Grayson.
Nice.
Grayson agreed to brew with us, and that became such a big hit. Of course, the beer is amazing, but the story behind it.
Yeah.
The beer itself, American grains, American hops, and the hops are geared towards battle, right? So warrior hops. We also put in some Warrior. There was some Chinook in there. So all hops that are also American. So an American-made beer made by a bunch of American guys using American yeast, all with a great story. To commemorate just a great person, a great family member. So
It's
we're
a
very proud of
fantastic
that.
story.
Yeah.
It's reached out. It's definitely reached a lot of people. That was actually one of my first beers trying outside of Vigilant beer. And when I say that, at the time we were trying to get into distribution, and we did. And we went to the Bean locally, and it was like a dad moment, right? A proud dad moment, because it was a beer that we created, and it's being served commercially, aside from us.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty neat. Great feeling there for a bunch of guys that we had no idea where we were going with this thing.
Right. Wow.
And here we are today.
So definitely pass along my thanks to the family. I'm a retired Air Force vet myself. I've
Thank you for service.
deployed 3 times over, so I know what it's like, and it's rough. I lost a couple friends on my first deployment. They were running close to the border of Iraq, and things happened, and unfortunately they paid the price. But definitely pass along our thanks.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful, and it's great that you guys, paying homage to them.
Yes.
So
And we'll continue. Again, the story behind the beer is what shines, and the beer complements it. We hope it complements the story itself.
that's awesome.
So, very fortunate.
Fantastic. Cool.
Now you also have one that's dedicated to firefighters as well, correct?
Yeah, Dread Red.
Dread Red.
That's one of my
That's one
Yeah,
of one today.
we had Red Fest last week.
Right.
This is probably our best batch right now.
Nice.
Really love this
What
beer.
what exactly is Dreadfest?
So Dreadfest, it's so I believe it's the fire company. That is their name. The name of the fire company, the Dreadlocks, I believe, or the Dreadnoughts, or something like that. And so we took that over. 12-inch steward, and so we took it over from them. And we made a red ale. So the red ale, that beer came about from our Irish Red Blonde, which we put out during St. Patty's Day, which is called Feckin' Red. And so we love that beer, amazing. And so we wanted to, for these guys, we were like, you know what, let's do a red. They wanted a red. We had our Feckin' Ale, so I did a couple of little adjustments to it. So more of an American red ale. A little more malty than your typical American red ale, not as hoppy. But flavorful, possible easy to drink. With a malty backbone, enjoyable, good body. This one's got some additional roasted caramel. You'll notice a slight hint of roasted malt as well as chocolate in there. So very, very proud of this batch, and it only gets better. We're never happy with each batch.
Well, that's how you grow. That's how you improve, right? You just keep tweaking and constantly working and perfecting and just getting it there. It's the way you got to do it, And you guys brew excellent beers. I mean, they're fantastic. I mean, we'll get to the peanut butter jelly here in a few minutes. But so, why beer? What brought you to beer? So, if you could have done anything else, I mean, why not a coal hogger or something? Why beer?
So actually, wine was my first passion. So I had a former colleague, or former business owner, and we enjoyed wine and cigars. And I used to always say, man, I would go tour. I remember going to Santa Barbara and going out to California and trying some of the greatest wines in America. And I always said, how can I make this? And the complexity of wine making was way beyond my scope. So I was like, all right, at best I could maybe serve a wine. And so that just kind of died. I didn't even think about it. And so my baby brother, I said, hey, what do you think about brewing beer? We could do it as a brother project. I'm like, all right, maybe. I don't know. I started to do research, and the biggest thing was the expense of the equipment. And I was like, probably not. I don't think this is going to happen. At the time, I just, living on a shoestring budget, there was no way I was going to buy a $20 stainless steel pot with everything else that we had to get. So, one particular day, I got an email from Mr. Beer, right?
Yes, that was actually the first time I ever brewed was in a Mr. Beer kit. Wow. And it was actually in Korea, believe it or not.
I got it. I brought my brother and I a Christmas gift. I got him the Mr. Beer kit, and it was like a buy one get one half off. I'm like, okay, well this is in my budget. I can afford this.
Yeah.
And it was like a nut brown ale. They're both nut brown ales.
Yes.
And I remember brewing it. I fermented in that little barrel that you said you bought. And it didn't even fermented. And I put it in a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola, right? An empty bottle, and I just let it carbonate, naturally carbonate.
Did it blow up?
No, it didn't actually.
Nice.
So we got pretty lucky there. And it was the worst tasting beer ever made.
Yes. So,
but you've gone from Mr. Beer to here.
That's just right. So, like I said, we tried doing it in Korea because you got nothing but time. You're working long days. You got nothing but time sometimes. So, me and a couple buddies of mine, one of them he's a home brewer. So all of a sudden he's like, well, somebody was leaving and they were selling them. So we're like, well, let's grab them. Why the hell not? We'll try and make them in our dorm room. That's what we did. So we tried brewing beer in our dorm room. And when it came time for the sugar, we didn't have like the right sugar or something. We had to like try and adjust.
Okay.
God, it
improvise.
came out awful. It did not work at all. It was god awful. I think we tried like 2 of them, and it wasn't even like. I mean, it wasn't even close to like a cider. I don't even know how to describe it. It was god awful. So
Well,
that's great though.
thankfully, we made beers years ago versus where we are today.
Yeah.
Even when Vigilant opened up. I mean, I think back to all my batches, right? So after that, I was like, this is the worst beer I've ever made. I want to make it better.
Mhm.
So I started to teach myself how to make beer, how to do all grain beer. So I went from a Mr. Beer kid to doing Midas Touch from Dogfish.
Yeah.
Right? So that was my second beer. Was
That's a
Midas
pretty
Touch.
big jump.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like an extract. It was like a half. I forget what it was, but it was like, you had the grains in a sack, right?
Yeah, and then like the malt extract.
Yeah, the malt extract. And it was actually pretty good. And I was like, okay, this isn't bad, right? So I made a 10% beer, and so I just went from there. And it was funny because every step I made, that particular beer I made, I didn't even have a wood chill, right? So I was like, okay, well, I'll just put it in the fridge, let it chill overnight. So
Hope for the best.
Yeah, so you try every tactic. So every beer I just got better. Every year I bought a new piece of equipment.
Yep.
Till I got to like the cooler, the mat for a mash tun, and 2 pots HLT, boil kettle. I got a Blickman burner, which we actually use here. So I slowly graduated to a lot of those things, and so I just kept brewing beer every weekend. I'd have the guys over, and we would have pint nights, and we'd always say, "Yeah, we're going to open up a brewery." And I would always say, I am going to open up a brewery. I'm going to be part of a brewery. I don't know how, but I will. And COVID hit. And I met these guys. Louis is a brother of a really good friend of mine. So we got introduced to his brother-in-law, who during COVID, he had to pivot his business. And he realized that he had opportunity space here. And he was like, hey, I think I remember that guy, John, who made beer. What if we try to do something with beer? And me and Louis collaborated, and here we are today.
Yeah.
And we went from a 1 barrel. I remember it just happened really quick, right? So we met, we talked about it, then we stopped talking about it.
Jumped in head first.
December came, we went. January, we started the conversation about a brewery again, and Kevin was like, hey, what do you think about this spike system, a 1 barrel brew system? And these fermenters, it's in Philadelphia. Like, that's going to be pretty good. He's like, all right, cool, because we're going to go pick it up like this week. And so that's how it all started. We bought that equipment, we brewed. I'm trying to think of it. We brewed in here somewhere in this space. I think it's where the cooler is right now. We brewed in there. And I remember our first brew day, we brewed a double batch.
Yeah, you guys had it, was it out on the lawn here, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I met
yeah.
friends here, and I tried that beer that day. And I remember it was that I think Windward was the first one you had.
So Windward, our first one we had around St. Patty's Day.
Mhm.
So we brewed Windward. Windward was brewed for that. Trying to think. Leyline. The Leyline, that'll come back again. That's after so many changes. But Windward, Leyline, and then we made Tropical Windward.
Mhm.
We only had 2 beers. We only had time for a couple beers because, of course, we brewed in like early February, and so Kevin had mentioned, hey, why don't we have like a St. Patty's Day fest again?
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, we got these 2 beers. He's like, well, can we make another beer? Like, we don't have time. I said, but what I can do is I can take 5 gallons of Windward, add pineapple and mango to it.
Start that as the base, yeah.
And so we had Tropical Windward. That's how Tropical Windward was going. With mango and pineapple. And so we had 3 beers that day.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yes.
So
And then
So-
we just slowly built on that.
Exactly how many different beers do you guys brew?
Right now, it almost feels like it's just dingy, but we actually brew quite a we brew a lot of selections. We have 16 taps. We do have seltzers, of course, for a lot of our customers who are not, beer drinkers. Our sours, for example, are dessert sours. They're not really sours per se; they're just dessert sours. So we that kind of adds to the mix. We have our lagers, which we're very passionate about. I can't wait to brew a lager again. But yeah, we have, and it's always rotating. But mostly the seltzers and the dessert sours. But you'll always find Dingy, you'll always find Spec Ops or some form of a lager. Our Czech Pilsner, which we absolutely love. Our Dread Red.
Very sweet.
Which was that?
I think it's the pina colada, honestly. But that's my guess. Oh, good lord!
We finished ours already.
Yeah.
So
Holy
you
pineapple!
are
I'm sitting there waiting for you
right.
guys, and
I don't believe
oh
so.
my god!
So I always like to ask the question of, I remember my first beer. So tell me one beer that would take, like, either that you remember fondly or that brings you back to yesteryear.
So my first beer was, I'm gonna say my first beer that I was like, okay, I'm onto something. Was it was a dessert stout, and it's called Vigilant, which is a Portuguese cappuccino. So it's basically a dessert stout that I made. When I made it at home, I did it with baker's chocolate.
Okay.
And then I added coffee into the fermenter as well.
Oh yeah.
And packaged it that way. That was a beer that I introduced it at. It was at a Shoveltown used to have a home brewer competition, and you were able to serve your beers.
Nice.
So it was actually a lot of fun. That's how I met Vitamin C at that particular home brew competition. Of course, he won. I came in like third and a half-ish place. It was a mistake, so apparently there were two winners on third place. So I call it half-ish because I got half the prize. But I won with the Vigilant, which was fun, and that's when I was like, okay, we're kind of up to something here. We just went from there. I just started experimenting, putting out stuff. IPAs was always trying to do an Inland IPA. That's when, at the time, this was back in 2016, I want to say, 17.
Yep.
When the IPAs were like really hitting full steam, and Trillium was the closest I found.
Yeah, they put out a lot of IPAs.
Yes. Yeah. Inland IPAs. So it was like, how can I make this? And then that was my dream. How can I do an Inland IPA? A lot of failures trying to do it.
So what's your favorite hop when you're making like a typical IPA or typical double IPA? What's your go-to best hop combination?
Citra is usually the first one that comes to me. So
Citra, you don't say.
Citra, CTZ for the bittering. Galaxy is a fun one too. We're starting to
like
get into a lot of
Galaxy.
other ones. Eldorado.
Yep.
But right now, Citra Amarillo, Centennial are widely used by us. Matuaka is another one that we use quite a bit. Our IPAs.
So I've got a question for you. What's your inspiration behind your sours and your seltzers? Your color as like a marketing tool. Your colors, everything is so vibrant. Your blue seltzer was incredibly beautiful. The spring sour, the color on it, it's gorgeous. The purple on the peanut butter and jelly sour.
Eat with your eyes.
Yeah,
we're attracted by color. We're attracted by vibrant colors, right? So when you see this bright blue, it's like, holy crap, what is that?
Yeah.
Or bright red, or bright yellow, or even pink.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that person drinking?
When it's going by the table, when somebody's carrying it and you're seeing them, and you're drawn to that color, and
Didn't I
you
say
see
that to
it,
you?
and you're drawn to it, and you're like, I don't know what that is, but I want it.
Right.
Yeah, you immediately ask the question. You see, like I was just following Constance yesterday. We were talking about this because we knew we were going to bring it up today, and it was one of those things that I said, you see it from across the room, and you immediately want to know what it is.
I don't know what it is, but I know that I have to have it. And I think we should get into the peanut butter and jelly sour.
I think so. Before we do, I just quick question for you. So I love sours.
Yeah.
I love the colorful sours, and I friends that I have that they'll question me like, dude, are you actually drinking a beer at this point, dude? I'm like, yeah, it's a beer. It's a sour ale. It's ale. It has ale in the name. At what point are we not making beer anymore and just making like a fruity drink?
Now.
What's the boundaries? What's the borderline of beer?
So when you think about brewing, right, there's a certain avant-garde to it, right? So where there's no rules. So we kind of took that and ran with it.
Amen to that.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
so
awesome.
and so as a group, we decided, you know, I've always been to more traditional styles, as are my other team members. But on from a buyer's perspective, as far as a customer, they want something more exotic than just a beer,
Of course.
right? And so that's how like the peanut butter and jelly was born through just, you know, again, my other partners and team members like, hey, why don't you make something fun and sweet? And I'm like, yeah, that's not beer. And it pushing. I was like, all right, fine, we'll do 5 gallons. And I remember begrudgingly grabbing some of our base dessert sour, which is our Meteor Red Sour. That's actually Louis' recipe. So I took a base of that and I just finagled it with, you know, like B2, some peanut butter powder, and some additional marshmallow. And I'm like, let's see what happens. Some grape juice. We put out 5 gallons. We had a comedy night that sold out in less than an hour. We did it again the next day. We had a brew fest that particular weekend. And again, we had because a lot of people heard about it that night.
Right.
We had a line around our table going out, waiting for
Yeah.
peanut butter, that damn peanut butter. I said damn, and it's like, because it goes against everything of a traditional brew, right? So, however, you think of like breweries like Dogfish, where they wanted to make, I forget what their saying is, but it's has something to do with, you know, off-center beer for off-center beer.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we've kind of gone way off-center with, you know, a lot of the fun flavors and, you know, giving a lot of folks the opportunity where they would never typically try a beer or any kind of a sour either, right? So you have folks who have tried sours and they're like, well, no, because it's funky, right? You get the true sours, they're funky, very tart. I like them.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
Lambics. But to the general public, they're like, oh, I hate sours, I don't know. And so when we started to introduce dessert style sour, you're like, oh wow, I can drink this. It's approachable.
Right.
But that's, you know, by bringing something like that and building on the flavor of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a glass, you know, we drew in a lot of clientele on that beer.
Oh, for sure. Another thing that you gotta recognize as a beer drinker, as a beer enthusiast, peanut butter and jelly makes it easy to, like, I tell people, like, you gotta smell the beer first and then taste it in the front of your mouth and taste it as you swallow it and then the aftertaste. Peanut butter and jelly is really good at that because when you first smell it, you get peanut butter, then you drink it and you taste the jelly, and the complexities are amazing in how it hits you. It's one of my top 3 beers of all time for sure. You know, you guys really hit it.
It's definitely in my top 10, if not my top 5.
Excellent,
And I will set my calendar for release date.
He's not kidding.
Yeah, no.
He's not
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I so appreciate it as a brewer. It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
Why can't it be like one of our more exotic, like a Czech style pilsner? You know what I'm saying? But it's okay.
It's one of those things where it's like a chef, you know, they get to a signature dish that they end up hating to make because they make it so much. But, you know, we've talked about it before, and it's one of those things where we mentioned it in a previous episode where some of the sours, it's like a gateway beer.
Right.
So it gets them hopefully in the door. They're trying the peanut butter jelly, and then they're thinking, well, I like this. What else can I try? What else might I like? And they start venturing and hopefully try more.
Yeah.
You know, they start getting into more sophisticated beers, more complex flavors.
Opening up their palate.
Definitely.
Exactly.
My wife won't drink a lager or an ale or anything, a typical classic style beer. So when we come here and there's seltzers and there's those dessert sours, that is something that draws her in. The colors are vibrant, they're beautiful. The taste, it's fruity. You've got the lactose, so it tastes like milk. In my opinion, the spring sour tastes like drinking the milk left over after a bowl of Lucky Charms. And I would drink that by the gallon if I could.
And that was
please, Ken, because I will give you my money.
We did that again, yeah. That was a bit of a challenge because we did we use a lot of dairy-free vanilla ice cream in there.
Oh.
So, you know, we were to scale that up. It would be it's usually about 2 pounds of vanilla ice cream per gallon. Right? So even if we do 186 gallons, which is 7 barrels,
That's a lot of ice cream.
which is our instant barrel, so 217 gallons. So now you times that by 2, you're looking over 400 pounds of vanilla ice cream. in there.
That's a lot of ice
So
cream.
yeah, so it's something we're discussing. We may get there. We may do something like that, or find another way.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge. We put out something great. It's like, damn it. And now, how do we scale this up and save money?
Yeah.
That's where the other
And still be profit, make turn a profit. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
which beer are you the most proudest of?
My next one.
Good answer.
My next beer. You know what? I'm proud of them all. I think when customers come up and I'm talking to them about like process and how we go through it, there's a certain love, and there's an even greater love of how I can make it better. So that's why I always say my favorite is my next one, because even if it's like Quick Flame Renee, which is a flagship, I'm always trying to find ways to enhance it, to give you, you won't realize it, but somewhere down the way, it's like, wow, man, this is
Change
amazing
something,
beer.
right.
Yeah, so there's like something slight in there.
Right.
So yeah, it's always going to be my next one. But my next one could be something that we brewed 100 times, but I just tweaked it just slightly.
In talking to other brewers, they've told me the same thing. How they've done slight changes. Remember, Proclamation used to have it was called Process Progress. They put it out like once a month, and it was always something slightly different that they'd add to it, and it would change every time. That's just amazing. Are all your beers like that? Does all of them change
Yep.
all
Yeah,
the time?
because they're, because we're always we're always tweaking, because it's like, okay, it's missing this and this and that. I mean, Dingy right now, it's almost close to perfect for me right now. I won't change it too much. If I change anything, maybe with water chemistry.
Mhm.
But I don't change the hops. The hops stay the same.
Mhm.
The base malt stay the same. The process, the mashing process, that all stays the same.
Mhm.
Because it's, we can't go too crazy, because then you lose your clientele.
Right.
I find myself doing that with a lot of mass market beers. Like like Proclamation, I love very much. But I loved a lot of these beers when they were small,
Mhm.
but because they gave me something very special. Now they're still very special. And I love what they're putting out there, but there's a noticeable change when you
Sure is.
scale up.
Sure is. I noticed a noticeable change in Proclamation when they moved from, when they started off in North Kingston, I think, right near URI, where Shades On is there now, right? And when they moved to Warwick, you could tell the difference by the taste.
Yeah.
It's like you tell like the water difference.
Mhm.
It just changed the flavor of that beer almost completely, a little
When you
bit.
scale up, there's always a challenge there. And again, I'm still, they make amazing beers.
Mhm.
It's hard. But from my perspective, there's a slight change.
Mhm.
Even something like Substance Ale from who are those guys now? Substance from they're out of Maine, Portland, Maine.
Allagash?
Not Allagash, but they used to be across the street from Allagash.
Bristol
Bristol
Brothers.
Brothers.
Bristol Brothers.
That's changed quite a bit from my first time. I loved it when they were just hand canning beers, and
Mhm.
you're waiting in line for hours to get like 4 packs.
Yeah, right.
And it changed.
Yeah, sure.
And right now it's still an amazing beer, but I know it's a big jump from where it was when I first tried it back in like 2017.
For sure. Yeah, I remember when I first started drinking craft beer, you used to go to breweries and wait in line. I waited in line at Trillium for hours.
Tilted
At
Barn.
Tilted Barn for hours. And just sitting there waiting in line for beers. You really don't do that anymore. Which is kind of nice because I don't have to wait, but it's like it's a bigger.
Do you think it loses some of the magic?
Um,
I would say no.
yes. Yeah, because now, right, so you want to pay the bills. So in order to pay the bills, you have to make more available. So yeah, as when you're looking at a production on the production side, you need to you need to brew it and think of it for the masses. And so yeah, it's a little magic. The line culture has changed,
Mhm.
which is okay. There's still lines for certain breweries, but also on a business side, when you look at a line that took an hour to move, it's like, shoot, could we have moved that faster and make more money?
Yeah.
Right. So
How many people did you lose who didn't
Well,
want
it's
to
just
wait in
different.
line?
Yeah, it's all.
yeah. So I mean, there's always that concern. So like I really like Trillium. I remember going to their one of their facilities, and it was like day after New Year's with some friends.
Mhm.
And although the line was moving, there was still a line the whole day, and all you can get was one pour at a time. You know what I mean? And you know, and I look at it now. They were pumping out, but how much more could they pump out?
Right.
You know, could they double? You know, so now you look at a place like Treehouse, where now they're just automated. Everything's automated.
Right.
You know, it's you know, they're printing money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
so they're, but they haven't lost the magic of putting out good beers.
King Julius is still by far one of my favorite beers of all time.
Green is probably my favorite.
Green is good. Yeah, green is good.
But yeah, they're setting the standard for, you know, what I like about what they do is they distribute for themselves.
Mhm.
Right? So build your business and make it for you and your customers, and not everybody, and not the middle, you know, the middle distributors and what have you. Same thing with vitamin C. I'm seeing really good.
I like vitamin C a lot.
The vitamin C,
It's like
Those
really
guys are
good.
great.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, do it by all means.
Mm.
Actually, with any business, you need to make it keep doing it.
Well, that's just it. I mean, because you know, you're putting out a wonderful product. Everybody loves it, but at the end of the day, you got to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, it's like it's the same thing, guys. Listen, if you want these places to stay open and stay viable, and you love their beers, go there. Because if you don't, that's what happens.
The doors are
happening.
gonna close.
The doors are going to close. They're going to fold, and unfortunately, then we lose a wonderful, wonderful thing. You know, so it's that balance of doing what you want for yourself and then doing what your customers are asking for.
Yep.
You know.
Doing what you love, but also keeping the lights on. That's
Yeah,
important.
gotta
You
keep the lights on.
doors open.
Yeah.
So-
and you know, just so that you're aware, this is actually our side gig. All of us work full time.
See,
Really?
we hear that a lot from folks too. You know, where it's still at the point where you got to have a day job essentially because you know you're not there yet. You're not scaled up to where you want to be, or you know the economy. I mean, you guys coming out of COVID, that must have been hard.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's a bold move, you know, opening up and starting.
Open up a business, but I mean, you know, we have an exceptional group of people who have a vision, nonstop vision. You know, so the minds are always turning.
Yeah.
Always making connections, always looking for the next one, and never being happy with what you've done. You know, or you know, okay, that's great today, but what's tomorrow? So I mean, that's our attitude with a lot of things. Although we take a little time to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Not
Not settling for good.
Yeah,
You don't rest on your laurels, you know.
Right.
So
We can't do that, and that's my philosophy overall in life. Sometimes it hurts me when I do that, but it's okay. It's just the way.
well, you know, unfortunately, not everything's going to work out.
Right.
So, biggest fail of a beer. What was the biggest fail you had?
The ones that we've dumped, we've had. Technically, we've only had about 2, I think, maybe 3, and really it was because of our. They were scorched through our elements, and we tried to save them, but and they were of course our most expensive beers on the IPAs. So.
Yeah.
So those were the biggest failures. Everything else is, you know, all the other beers are again just making it better. And so, you know, the guy, you know, because there's 3 brewers. There's myself, there's Chris Grants, and there's Michael Gogat, who are we've been brewing since the beginning. And we're all very passionate about what we do, but we love brewing our lagers because there is a certain complexity in brewing those. Water chemistry, you know, grain build, fermentation, and process that goes into that. And we make it. We bring out our Czech Pilsner. We love it. We're still making little tweaks in there, but it's a beer that we really appreciate.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's for us. It's a labor of love there for those guys.
Good.
Yes. So, what's one of the strangest things you think has ever happened in the brewery since you guys have been open?
Strangest things. Not realizing that when you cold crash a beer, it's going to suck all of the liquid, all of the what do you call it, the sanitizer liquid, you know,
Yeah.
from your blow off tube. We didn't realize it, and that was when we were doing like 1 barrel batches, and that was when we were doing free stuff. We actually ended up tossing it, but I'll never forget. We had sanitizer in a bucket. We put it in a cooler. We put it, you know, we had a little makeshift cooler back, let it cold crash. We come in 2 days later and there's no liquid.
In your airlock.
There's no liquid in our sanitizer bucket.
Yeah.
Mm.
And where the blow-off tube goes, and we're like, holy crap, what just happened? And then, of course, it ruined the beer. And months later, we realized, oh man, of course, it creates a suction, right?
Suction,
We do
yeah.
cold, right? You're crashing, that creates a suction, and that sucked in all that sanitizer, 5 gallons of it.
Oh,
It's like the fuck up.
Yeah, so that was the weirdest thing. And we were all fighting. I remember fighting with each other. We're like, who did this? Was this you? You know,
Somebody
and-
had to have done it.
And we were all very stressed, you know, because we were like, we didn't know what we were doing. We wanted to put something good. There was a lot of pressure on all of us to put up a free event. But we wanted to put something out great because that was our reputation. And I remember fighting like cats and dogs for that, because of that thing. And then when we finally, months later, it's like, oh shit, the cold fermenter, yes, you get that. So it sucked.
You live and you learn, right?
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
weird.
So what do you say
Wanna score
we
this?
we do the scores on
The
this
score?
and find out if I am yet again the top.
Oh boy.
can we bring out the top knock before we do the scores?
Let's bring up the
Show out Costas's prize, if you will.
Again, we have this wonderful, high quality,
Winner,
genuine,
chicken dinner.
fake gold color trophy, beautiful beast. Right now, Costas right now is the top cock. And in the event
Yes,
of a
I am
draw,
indeed.
we settle this in the age-old samurai tradition of rock, paper, scissors.
Mm.
So, all right. So, guys, what do you think was the first one that we had?
I say the first one was the left one was full stream.
Yeah, that's what I got.
You got full steam?
Yep.
Steam.
All right, I got Spec Ops.
You got Spec Ops at a full steam, and
Yes.
full steam's
Well,
in Amber.
You guys.
Over here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. I'm out. Moving on.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay.
I would say that number 2 is the spec
Special
ops.
ops. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Some ale.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, I flipped them.
The third one's for sure the pina
Third one
colada.
was without a doubt.
Hits in
Which,
the back of the eye.
by the way, is absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
The pina colada. yeah,
Pina
that's
colada
us.
is absolutely
so that's
fantastic.
That's Louis' creation. That's he's been mixing and building a lot of our.
Hats off to Louis on that
So
one.
this is he's taking care of that program.
That hits it. That hits it strong. That's like,
Yeah.
wow.
That's
That's
absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic flavor.
And then
Front to
obviously the
back.
last one was,
Dread.
Last
dread,
one was
dread.
red, red.
For
which
sure.
again is another
So-
fantastic.
I got all four of them right. You got all four of them
I
right.
got all
Ed,
four
Ed
of
did
them.
not
I
get all
did
four of
not
them
this
right.
time.
So we're gonna do the rock paper scissors.
I flipped them.
The top clock.
They got a
You
rock,
ready?
paper, scissors.
Best of three. Rock paper scissors shoot. Okay. Rock paper scissors shoot. Rock paper scissors shoot. Rock paper scissors shoot.
Nothing better than grown men playing rock, paper, scissors.
I've already beat you. on the
Oh, all
first
right.
two.
You hold the top guy. Son of a-
Congratulations,
Yet
Costas.
again.
Oh, great job, Costas.
He's got it again. He's got it again.
As always, I am the top cock.
John, thank you so much for taking the time out today. We
Yes.
really appreciate it. We know how busy you are. You guys have been cranking away back there.
Gotta get back to
So,
my dinghy. So
Thank you.
Can we
Appreciate it.
find you guys on social media? Can
You can definitely find me. I mean, I'm on social media, not on social media.
Vigilant is
Yeah,
on social media.
Vigilant's
Or your
on social media.
Facebook, your events.
Instagram,
Yeah,
Twitter.
so everything's on. So Vigilant itself is on Facebook, Facebook and Instagram, and you will always see all of our events coming up. So
Yes,
we have a great team behind that that are constantly pushing.
That's
the
awesome.
program out there.
that's great. Thank you so much for
Thank you for
joining
your
us.
time.
Thank you.
guys
It's
coming.
been
Thank
so
you very
much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, gents.
We'll do it again.
Ooh, ooh.
That's all
Oh
right.
no.
We're good. We're good.
So it's hard to skip the beat. Okay, here we go.
So today, Three Dudes Brews was filmed in front of a live studio audience. We want to thank John and Vigilant again for everything and for taking the time out of their day to let us try these awesome beers and to sit down and talk with us. So, buddy, where are we heading next?
Next on the map of breweries that we are touring is Taproot Brewery in lovely Newport, Rhode Island. This show we'll post this show on right around the July 4th. We'll be filming late in July, and next month's show it will premiere in August, of course. So tune into A Van Down by the River podcasts at avandownbytheriverpodcast.com for all of our great podcasts. We also do the Ghost and the Goat live on Tuesday nights at Sports and Paranormal, and the mid card featuring our cameraman Joe and my co-host Bams from the Goat and the Ghost as they talk wrestling and all the drama that goes on in the squared circle. For John at Vigilant Brewing, we ready to wrap this up? Yeah.
Yeah.
For not just Ed, but he puts the Ed in bread. For the Greekiest man I know, I'm Buddy Thayer. This has been Three Dudes Brews. Thank you. Cheers, guys.